dry fasting is known as one of the most powerful fasts we can practice in our lives. We can even increase the intensity with limited or no water contact. The fact of the matter is, the more you deprive the body, the greater the destruction. This leads us to the idea that fasting is a healing modality that initiates the destruction of the body for the purpose of rebuilding it with cells capable of surviving those harsh conditions. The less water you drink, the more the destruction increases. Only one of two things happen at the beginning of a dry fast. You will either experience amazing benefits and clarity or strong detox symptoms. It depends on your lifestyle. But, nevertheless, everyone will experience detox symptoms provided the dry fast is long enough. So, it should be expected. Not feared, but expected. The worse your lifestyle and the more concentrated the toxins that have been stored in your fats, brain, organs, muscles, and joints, the worse you are going to feel as you go through the dry fast. This is why consecutive dry fasting becomes easier, and then one can use the extra energy to push for longer dry fasts for deeper cleansing. Because the primary objective of your body is to continue adapting to the harsh conditions of the dry fast. So there is a constant continuation of the body adapting itself, which means the body gets rid of more and more diseased and damaged cells the longer one dry fasts or the more often one dry fasts. Those shorter consecutive dry fasts may be very useful in healing even the most damaging diseases. It's much less effective in healing those long-standing serious issues where the longer dry fast is necessary. The body takes about 7 days to completely adapt to the initial stages of the dry fast. It spends the week cleansing itself of heavy toxins and the environment which is conducive for parasites to live and thrive. At that point, any injuries and health issues become aggravated in this first week. This is because the issues are being reduced and isolated as well as the system becoming relaxed. The body is preparing itself for greater healing. And there is an emotional crisis occurring as well. Now the 7 days are the first major completed change in the body. Past this point, the number of days do not matter. They are mere measurements of time. Though your body is operating on a different clock that is measuring the content of fat and resources available, and when the body reaches less than optimal levels of fat storages, the next level of cleansing is activated and the body begins the removal of freeloading diseases, illnesses, the deconstruction of injuries, and every other kind of substance not removed during the first week, otherwise known as the second healing crisis. And the muscle tissues and joints have become relaxed and more flexible, making it easier for the body to extract the stored toxins deep within the tissues, joints, and organs. And there are some deep emotional releases at this level that have been trapped in the physical body for a long time. In the average weight person, the symptoms, pain, or evidence of any disease and illness begins to greatly reduce as the dry faster passes into the second week. By the end of the second week, any evidence of diseases has been removed and the root cause is all that remains. As the body goes deeper in the healing process, it begins to remove the root causes in the third week of the fast. Though this is a general reference of time, if the dry faster is below average weight at the start of the fast, then the strong therapeutic effects may be reached sooner than later. After 7 days, the dramatic weight loss stops and the body is more adapted to the fast to begin using fat more efficiently and intelligently. To recap, within the first 3 days, the body releases all its stored water. From days 4 to 7, the amount of fat needed for its daily caloric and water needs are increasing and reaches a maximum at 7 days of dry fasting, at which the amount of fat being consumed tapers off as the body has become lighter, healthier, slower, and the demand for energy decreases. At this point, the mind is going through its own changes. The brain becomes more accustomed to the lighter energies as most of the unhealthy neural connective pathways are broken down and the senses have increased, reaching a maximum, at which point going further and the deeper senses become activated. At this time, the brain is tuned to receiving higher frequency downloads of information, and a greater self-presence is experienced as the body has become more calibrated to conducting higher states of consciousness within the self that open doors for all sorts of experiences that only deepens and intensifies the longer the dry fasts. One begins to have a greater sense of the future and the past all at the same time in the present moment. This is the result of consciousness expanding and frequency rising. One starts becoming visible to good-natured spirits and positive extra-dimensional entities. Your perception increases by being able to see more of what was invisible. Hear sounds previously not heard, smell things previously not smelled. The sense of time begins to change and transform into an altered state of consciousness. It will seem as if time is slowing down because the person is still identified with the ego mind. But, as the destruction continues, the body and ego are humbled, the higher mental faculties emerge, and as the person begins to identify themselves with the higher point of view, time as well as the normal reality of space seems to be disappearing from the consciousness. Consciousness in the person is beginning to transcend the normal limitations of time and space. Heat is the result of a few things occurring in the human body during dry fasts. The body temperature increases during the dry fast as a result of not drinking water, which signals the body to burn more fat. The metabolism greatly increases. The heat one experiences is direct evidence of more fat or toxins being consumed. Usually, the body temperature increases during a crisis, though vice versa is also true. If body temperature increases, then it can trigger a crisis during the dry fast or burn more fat. This is especially effective once the person has depleted all of their stored water reserves. Then any increase in external heat only causes the body to burn more fat. An internal increase in heat is a sign of the body burning more fat or experiencing a crisis. Sleep patterns are interrupted during the heavy removal of toxins and increasing body temperature is experienced. The remedy for this is to reduce the body temperature with cold showers, cold mouth water rinses. Lower the temperature of the environment, which will relax the mind and slow the detox and put the body in motion, which causes the body to produce internal water, and then the person can return sleeping. Though if one is experiencing a heavy crisis, then the crisis must pass before being able to sleep better during the dry fast. Sleep patterns are also interrupted because during this time the body stops producing water and turns all its focus to healing and repairing. The temperature reaches its most intense during sleep. At this point, the body falls into the hardest dry fast. That is the lowest hydration the body can experience. And when the heat reaches a maximum, the dry faster is awakened so that the temperature can begin reducing with the production of water. This also accounts for the dramatic weight loss. Muscle density becomes lighter in the absence of water. However, this writing doesn't scratch the surface of what dry fasting entails, but it can serve as a general understanding of some of the changes to be expected. Dry fasting is not for the faint of heart and can produce some of the most remarkable changes in the human being in such a short period of time. The practice is one of faith and dedication on a subject with so little information. And though many will yield to scientific validation, there are those that will forge ahead on the knowledge and testimonies shared.